Good evening, everyone. Welcome to SPY Intraday Price Action Recap on Moving Charts. As we discussed on Monday's analysis, SPY broke out of this trend line and closed right at this fair value gap. So we mentioned on Monday's video that the price action will be based on the Tuesday's open. Tuesday to open the gap up and above this fair value gap, which printed another two strong green candle back to back, and SPY made an all-time high today. Closed at 699.94, 6 cents below 700 psychological level. It broke out of this strong resistance before. It may act as a support in the coming sessions. SPY left many fair value gaps from the recovery from this bottom of 630 to 700. And RSI on the daily time frame is right around 70%. So let's see how the next 2 days candles are getting printed for SPY. Moving on to hourly time frame. On all the lower time frames, SPY is been just melting up for last 1 week. And hourly time frame, SPY is on the overbought zone for quite some time now. Yesterday, after opening gap up and above this fair value gap level we marked on the daily time frame, it just printed back-to-back green candles and then formed an evening star pattern. At the overbought zone, but the next candle invalidated that setup, which led another major move. Today, in the last hour of the session, it printed a doji candle, but we have a fair value gap between 697.5 and 699.35. Looking at the 5 minutes time frame for intraday price action, nothing big to analyze. It was just taking support from these moving averages and just keep melting up. Today it opened the gap up and pulled back to test yesterday's high, then printed an inside bar candle testing the 20 EM and 5 minutes time frame and yesterday's high. Then just started melting up to 699 level from 695. Looking at the 15 minutes time frame, after yesterday's gap up, it just keep melting up and pulled back to test this fair value gap level. After printing this small hammer and pull a single pin candle on the 15 minutes time frame after testing this fair value gap, it just started moving again. And today also, after opening gap up, it just printed a bearish candle to test yesterday's closing price and then printed another bullish Marubozu candle, which led another move from 695.69 to 699. Since the RSI is at now 70%, how the next 2 days of the week candles are getting printed for SPY. Looking at Apple today printed a bullish engulfing candle taking support from 20 EMA and daily time frame. Earlier it took back-to-back support from 200 SMA as we discussed on our weekly analysis, and just dipped into this fair value gap level. So based on how it reacts to this zone, the coming days price action will be, if we gap above this fair value gap, then we'll go and break this trend line and this descending triangle pattern setup. If we get rejection from this fair value gap, then we'll come and test this support level again before moving back up. Looking on the hourly time frame. On the hourly time frame, today it printed a full engulfing candle right at the 20 EMA, which printed another two back-to-back green candle. If we see similar green candles as we took support near 20 EMA daily time frame, then Apple will break this resistance, this trend line resistance, as well as this resistance at 275, and eventually test this at 280. Looking at Uber also today broke out of this trend line resistance with a high volume, invalidating this fair value gap, which was tested before on April 8th, and also this fair value gap. So this may act as a support in the coming days if it pulls back. Currently price is right at this resistance level, which was already tested for 2 times. If we break above this resistance 78.28 conveniently, then Uber will have this double bottom neckline breakout. This resistance was already tested twice. The second test did not lead to a lower low. Instead, it collected liquidity below this first bottom. Here we can see a bullish engulfing candle setup also. Looks like Uber may test 200 SMA around 286, or this supply zone around 90 level. Looking at HIMS also today printed a bullish candle right on all 3 EMAs, 9, 5 and 20 EMAs, breaking out of this with the significant volume. Earlier price also took support from this gap which formed on March 9th. That is 50% level from this gap. It took support. And if you look at on the larger time frame like weekly, price collected liquidity below 200 SMA on weekly and jumped 50% on March 1st week, then pulled back to test this gap, and so far it is printing a nice bullish engulfing candle. Let's see how it closes on this week. We have 2 more trading sessions. Price also collected a liquidity below this trend line, and now it is taking support from the same trend line again with a bullish reaction on a weekly time frame. And if you look at monthly time frame, even on the monthly time frame also last month it closed inside this trend line. And this month is taking support from the same trend line, retesting this previous resistance breakout. And on daily time frame we can see this breakout. Not sure if we can say this as a inverted head and shoulder pattern, but looks like that. Thank you for watching.